Hi, my name is Bubba Ayub. I'm here with Vintage King Audio, and today I have the immense honor and pleasure of talking to you about a reissue MiniMoog Model D and a vintage MiniMoog Model D. The MiniMoog Model D came out in 1971, and it was, in its time and today still, a really important moment in synthesis, because it was the first time that the average working musician could get their hands on the synthesizer and the synthesizer sounds in a way that was immediately musically useful, using just this sort of simple pared down version of what you had in a modular system. What people had been discovering was that you patched the same things all the time. You always patched oscillators into a mixer, into a filter, into a VCA. And that fact was exploited to make the MiniMoog and to have the MiniMoog make sense. In some ways, it was a last-ditch effort to start making some money because modular systems were super expensive and very difficult to produce in the quantities and volumes and time frames needed to meet the demand left by things like Switched on Bach and Strange Days by the Doors. There's the controller section, which gives you the ability to mix between the different kinds of modulation. The MiniMoog has 3 oscillators with switchable wave shapes, switchable octaves, and for oscillators 2 and 3, a wide coarse tuning knob. Moving on, we have the mixer section. There are 3 attenuators for each of the 3 oscillators. There's an attenuator for the external input and for noise, and there's a switch to choose between white and pink noise, as well as switches to turn on any channel of the mixer. To our right, we have the modifiers section, which has 2 subsections. There's the filter with controls for cutoff frequency, emphasis or resonance, and the amount of envelope being applied to the filter, as well as the filter's envelope itself, which is an attack, decay, sustain envelope, and the decay knob also controls the release when the switch is turned on. Below the filter section is the loudness contour section, which is just a simple attack, decay, sustain envelope, identical to the envelope on the filter. The decay time also controls the release time. Finally, we have the output section, which has volume controls for headphone and main output, as well as a switch to turn main output on and off, and an A440 tuning switch. To the left of the keyboard on all MiniMoogs are 2 switches and 2 wheels. The 2 switches control whether glide is turned on or off, or whether the release portion of the envelopes is turned on or off. On the reissue MiniMoog, directly to the left of this is an LFO rate knob that can also change the wave shape. Directly below these 2 switches are 2 wheels that have played a huge role in cementing the MiniMoog as the ultimate performance synthesizer. One wheel controls pitch bending, which is used most famously by Jan Hammer and pretty much everybody in the 70s who wanted their solo to sound cool and kind of like a guitar player's. The second wheel is the modulation wheel, and this controls how much of whatever modulation in the CV realm is being applied to either the oscillators or the filter. A classic trick for getting even more range and even more textures out of a synthesizer that has still, after 46 years, not been fully explored is to take the unused output from the backside of the MiniMoog panel and run it into the external input. This creates a feedback loop that is always perfectly controllable within the synthesizer. By changing the external input volume, you can change the severity of the feedback loop. Well, now you've heard them. Now you've heard an original MiniMoog Model D that has lived through the last 40-something years, and you've heard a brand new one that is just a little baby taking its first steps into the world. I'm Bubba Ayub with Vintage King Audio. If you want to learn more about the MiniMoog Model D, please contact your sales rep or contact us at vintageking.com.